All right, everybody, welcome to NorCal Sports Network. And this is the same hat that Brock Purdy's dad wears. Chat loves it when Marty Lurie comes on.
Anytime you lose a game this time of year, when you can't go backwards, it's a problem.
All right, everybody, welcome on in. NorCal Sports Network. Tough loss tonight, Lou. Warriors give one away tonight. We're going to get right into it. But before we do, let's thank our sponsor, Chapman Law Group. Chapman Law Group, located in Marin. Give them a big shout out. Give them a call, 415-613-9483. Let them know NorCal Sports Network sent you for any legal needs you may have. All right, Lou, we get into this. This was a difficult, painful loss tonight. Warriors were up 18 with about 5-6 minutes to go in the third quarter, and they look a little bit like a team that lacks something. And it bit them big tonight with Curry out, Green out, Wiggins on the bench for a while. They get completely outscored. Lots of turnovers again, as Mark Graves points out. 26-9 in the points differential on turnovers. Yeah, this is a rough one. What do you got to say about this one tonight, Lou?
They look like the Warriors look like the team that played Sacramento last night, not the other way around. And I think two things. Warriors tonight really dependent on the outside shot compared to Brooklyn. If you take Curry's free throws out, 7 for 13 was our free throws. We're not going to win shooting 50%. The other thing is we took a total of 17 free throws. We were 11 for 17. They were 26 for 30. You know, it's sort of amazing. The team shoots basically 13 more free throws on the road, which shows they were more physical. They went inside, and it seemed like literally all we were doing is sort of firing up. And other thing, too, is you're up 18 at home. They never got a chance to really make it 25. They sort of stagnant. And I thought our lineup that we started with the fourth quarter, I mean, we had
Terrible.
7 points with like 5:25 left in the fourth quarter at one point. They weren't doing anything.
Well,
So I really blame the bench tonight.
To me, one of the big problems with the Warriors, and I've said this the beginning of the season, 3 points, they didn't shoot too bad. They were 41% on the night, 19 of 46. Brooklyn made 20 of 45. So they both shot well. But what bothers me, when you have an 18-point lead, stop just chucking up threes like, run your offense and take what the defense was giving you, which they were giving them all night long early in the game, which was in the paint. Kalena kept on the broadcast talking about go inside. This team is 29th in the league in giving up points inside. And the Warriors are just fired away threes, and Kerr's not changing the offense. They were overplaying guys a lot. You could have done a lot of backdoor screens and cut to the hoop. It's like one thing that bothers me about today's NBA is they don't like 2 points. It's like, doggone it. You got 2 points.
I thought they started going inside a lot in the third. In the second half, they started going inside a lot. And the reason I think they went away from it is they were breaking a lot of dunks and layups. I mean, breaking a lot of layups, and they were missing a lot of dunks. And I texted you about it, and I was like, this is getting ridiculous. There was a specific play I thought there was actually 3. So there was one, the first one, I think it started the first one, was a missed putback by Trace. Then there was a missed putback by Pods. And then there was another missed putback by Wiggins. And, and then there was a few missed layups too.
Those were off rebounds, though.
No, a lot. Yeah, but some of them were
Pods
easy
went to
rebounds.
dunk it. And it
Yeah,
turned
but
out the three the
you
other
saw
way.
you know what I'm talking about, Lou, right? Yeah, that one was bad. He didn't need to even dunk that. That was a lot of these you can come back like Podge. I don't even think can really dunk like that. So I didn't think he needed to go for that type of.
Yeah, I
It
know.
wasn't necessary. You saw. You know what I'm talking about, Lou.
Wasn't that off of a missed shot though?
Yeah, but he didn't need to go up.
He didn't need to go. He's tried to spike tip it.
Yeah,
Right,
he
right.
tried. It was just. It
And
wasn't.
it wound up being a three the other way.
Exactly. It was
five-point
actually a
turnaround.
pretty big play. Yeah.
Yeah.
You saw that. Yeah. That was.
Here's another thing, and Mark Graves has pointed this out. I'm watching this game, and Moses Moody, in fact, I text you. I love my man Moody. Goes off for 15 in the second half. I'm saying to myself, you know what, Kerr? You don't have to start the same 5 in the second half that you started the game with. Why don't you just start Moses Moody?
He's got to change the lineup. Yeah.
He's and when does he come in? He comes in the third quarter with 3 minutes and 30 seconds left. He sat for 8.5 minutes. He sits for 8.5 minutes. What are you doing, Steve Kerr? I mean, I love Steve Kerr, but
remember, Kuminga's not even playing. So those minutes should go to Moody.
Sometimes the eye test, I don't understand how coaches don't go with the eye test. I mean, we can get into this for a while. I mean, Kyle Shanahan today's already announced he's going to start Brendan Allen again. Why? But that'll be another show. But why is Moses Moody? He was having the best game of this season, and you could see how much he was getting the team going, and you sit him. I just absolutely hate that. I had a game once in junior high, my sophomore year in high school. I didn't start that year. I get put in because one of our starting guards is on disciplinary reasons because he didn't show up to practice during Christmas break. I go off for 21 points in the first 3 quarters. I sit the fourth quarter. I don't even see the next game.
Yeah, it's starting to, and someone made a good comment on a video. Someone I watched on another YouTube channel, Hoops and Night. He does, videos the next day, not post games. But he made a good comment, or someone made a good comment on his post game, or not post game, but show. Anyways, basically saying that they've noticed that the Warriors, the last few games have, or not, about the last 5, so a little more than few, have essentially kind of gone away from the pick and roll a lot, and they're going straight to the motion offense again, which I also have noticed a lot too.
Yeah.
And I think they need to integrate back that Terry Stotts, portion of the offense, because I think with this team, we don't have the shooters that they think they have. Like, I think especially with Buddy Hield coming back to earth, we got to kind of simplify some of these plays and, go to especially the second unit, just go to the pick and roll sometimes. I mean, now Kuminga's not playing, so some of what I'm saying is kind of specific with, guys like Kuminga and certain guys like that. But like Kuminga, they need to be getting him the ball a lot more when he comes back, and they need to I think, make some adjustments to this offense, because especially in the second half, you're seeing it kind of stall out as soon as they, like you said, they start missing threes, the offense dries out. So they need to, bring in some simplicity.
Thanks, Kyle. Dennis Schroeder, he's the guy that they should go after for Melton.
I agree.
A straight swap. The guy is a ball player. He is a killer, a warrior killer for sure.
He always has been a warrior killer. Yeah.
They should definitely go after him. See if you can get him. The other thing, you probably have to give up a second, round pick, but that's fine.
I think he'd have to give honestly, with how Schroeder's been playing this year, probably give up two seconds.
Maybe 2 seconds, yeah.
Which is fine. Joe Lego can buy those from other teams.
I mean, he's 2 seconds. He's not coming back to the Nets next year. So,
no.
The Nets, what do they need him for? Here's the other thing that I want to talk about. You talk about the motion offense and instead of the pick and roll. What I was observing tonight was, and I've seen it with other teams, but they're playing really high on the Warriors, tenacious defense, guarding them, chasing them, switching off around the screens and offsetting, and guys are, like a glove on Steph, and they're anybody that can shoot, they're on it, especially Steph. And you're going to need guys that can go to the hoop. And, I think Mark put it in here. Trace Jackson Davis has to stop going for a dunk on every time. You just got to be able to, he's got to learn. You know what he needs to learn?
He needs to learn a little mid-range shot.
Yeah. He needs to learn when he's going to the hoop, pull up from 8 feet and bank it in. Just like,
all he can do is hit a layup or dunk it. It's ridiculous. He's got to add more to his. And I heard someone say that Trace Jackson, a few people, won't call out names, but a few people said that Trace Jackson Davis had the most upside on the Warriors. And I think tonight's game shows that that's just fucking ridiculous. Like, excuse my language. I don't like to swear too much on the show, but it just, dude, this dude is so one-dimensional. It is insane. If there's a big guy and Lou, I saw Lou there, he probably agrees. It's like he can't make an outside shot outside the key. If he's outside the key, he can't make a shot. And if he's at the top of the key, he's probably not making that shot either because he's going to try to do some weird like layup thing. And it's just he has to add a mid-range shot to his game. Otherwise, he's going to always be a bench player. But the problem is the Warriors are starting him. I think at this point, the Warriors are almost forced, to make some type of move with how they've played in the last 5 games. They've lost 3 times.
The guy needs to learn. Trace needs to learn what a jump stop is. Okay, come charge it to the hoop, jump stop. You have both feet. Now you can pivot. You can use either foot as a pivot, and you can pump fake, or you can just jump stop, go up. Nice little 7-8 foot bank shot right off the rim. That is an easy shot to make.
And I think Kuminga being out has been discounted. Kuminga and Melton, and let's get into that a little bit. What do you think about Kuminga and Melton being out? Because I think we're seeing it a lot. I think everyone talked about the depth of this team, but I think a lot of the depth was kind of based on those two guys. And I think without Kuminga's, 15 a game, the team looks kind of desperate for scoring. I don't know. What do you guys think? I'm going to go around real quick.
Go ahead, Lou.
Go ahead, Dan, and then I'll go after.
Okay. Wow, what a polite show we have tonight. No, you go, Lou.
All right. I'll tell you the biggest problem is if Big Fred was here is I don't understand who's in at certain times. Here it is. Kuminga's not playing. And Gary Payton plays the third most amount of minutes where he's been getting 6 and 8 minutes. The other thing is, why is Moody not getting the third most minutes? I don't understand it. That beginning of the fourth quarter, you could see the flow going. You knew Brooklyn wasn't getting tired from last night's game. And that lineup we had out was pathetic. This is now, you got to remember the game before this was against the Spurs, right? Where they led, they ran out of gas. Now, this game, like I said when we started the show, it looked like the Warriors played last night. They ran out of gas. Our guys go out there. We're not sure who's playing, whose role. They got to start getting specific roles so they know what they're doing. Like everyone knows what Looney does. He comes in, plays a quick 8 minutes, tries to get 4 or 5 rebounds, and then he goes out. Very simple. But everybody else, you're not sure of. The other thing is, why do we have to force a lot of our shots? I saw Waters today, him, Curry, and I think it might have been Brandon, come down with the ball. Only Steph can get the ball and throw it. These guys aren't even set stone when they get the ball. They're just hucking it. The Spurs, 6 wins, blew that game on the road. But worse is this Brooklyn team is not that good. We know they're not that good. They played last night, and it's at our home court. This reminded me of the Warriors from last year when they played at home. And, with Oklahoma coming in Wednesday, they better get their head out of their ass and show up, or Oklahoma will blow them out.
Yeah, this is the worst loss of the season tonight.
Honestly, Lou, Dan, your take real quick too first.
Yeah, I think it's the worst loss of the season. I think that Kerr needs to tighten up a little bit on the rotations and, go with the hot hand. Tonight, it was Moody. He scored 15 in the first half. And what did Moody end up with for the game? He ended up with 15. Yeah. He did not get a point in the second half.
Especially if you're going to play like Kerr saying he wants to play all these guys, then it shouldn't matter who's hot, right?
Yeah, I don't understand these head coaches sometimes. I really don't. What is and I love Steve Kerr. Okay, I think he's one of the top 2-3 coaches in the league. Okay, but it's hard to defend when a guy does 15 points in the first half. He plays 8 minutes? Is that what he played in the first half? 8 minutes, I think Moody played. He played a total of 16. Look, start him in the second half. He had a 20-minute rest at halftime? Okay, he's not winded now. He's playing. Don't stick him on the bench because that's what the rotation says. It's the same thing with Kyle Shanahan. Jordan Mason runs one play for 16 yards. Okay, that's enough. These guys, coaching is a tough job, but sometimes they make it tougher on themselves when a guy is actually performing. Just go with the hot hand. Okay, pretty simple. Guy's making a bunch of shots and he's playing great D and he's the catalyst to the team. You know what? I think I'm going to keep the guy in until he cools off.
Yeah, and Kerr used to do that a lot more. I'm not sure what the deal was with tonight with that, because Kerr usually does do that. So that was the weird part about it.
Yeah, it was like there was some little chart before the game. Okay, we're going to do this, this, and this, and we're going to follow the chart. You know what?
Analytics.
Sometimes you just got to take the doggone chart and rip it up.
Yeah, I thought what was also pretty weird, and I thought that was important, was that I think Kerr puts out, and Lou's mentioned it too, I think he puts out weird lineups at the start of the fourth sometimes when the momentum has changed. And Mark meant, I won't pull up the comment, but he kind of basically just says that, Curry should come in earlier sometimes. And I think Curry and Draymond should come in earlier sometimes, because I think, the game's starting to go the wrong way. Sometimes you just got to put the guys in, and if they got to play an extra couple minutes, especially Draymond. I mean, I guess Curry, he's coming back from ankle injury, so I can kind of get if there's some minute restriction or something like that. But Draymond should have a minute restriction. So Draymond, I thought, should have came in. I don't know what you think, Lou, with that, but at least throwing Draymond there right at the start of the fourth, because you saw it. And I texted Dan. I was like, momentum. I didn't say momentum. I just said Nets are probably going to win this if we don't make, And then Dan's like, oh, I think they call a timeout to put in Draymond and Steph. Draymond should have came in right away. And then you can stagger Draymond. Then you put in Steph at a certain minute mark, take out Draymond for a couple minutes, put it back in, Draymond after like a minute and a half with the timeout, which is like really like 7 minutes.
We got to trade.
Yeah, I think
Shanahan and Kerr in a package deal.
I'm a big fan of Steve Kerr. I think he adjusts. It takes him a couple of games.
Aaron,
I think you bring up two good points. One is Trace Davis starts the game, right? Usually plays.
Will do, Rye.
He only played 17 minutes tonight. The other thing that frustrated me is I think you bring up a good point. In crunch time, TJ Davis, they don't want him in the game. Because here's the problem. He's not getting the rebounds. If you look tonight, he got 3 rebounds. You know who led the Warriors tonight in rebounds? Peyton 2 with 9.
Oh, wow.
Right? And that's probably why he was rewarded and they kept playing Peyton, because, he scored, he got rebounds, he didn't make mistakes. But that's the same for Moody. I don't understand it. Is you got to get a combo, and Dan brings this up. That's not going to lose the lead. What the goal is, when Kerr takes his rest, you maintain the lead, right? The Warriors are not doing that. These fourth quarters, the start of the fourth quarters are killing them. And the problem is, like I said earlier, they only had 7 points in 6 minutes with the scrubs. 7 points at home. And you can see the other thing too is our defense tonight didn't realize Brooklyn had 2 studs that were scoring. 2. And they didn't go after them. So I think you bring up a great point about Davis, where he has no outside shot. So when the game is on the line, Kerr says, hey, you did your time, thanks. But, they're going to have to do something because the schedule now, until we play the Lakers, are teams that go up and down where you're going to have to put the points on the board. I mean, without Curry today, they didn't even score even close to 100. They scored 92 points. That you can't win.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this is at home, not on the road. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
Let me get to this super chat from Bill M. He says, yep, Kyle Kerr waters 28 minutes over Moody. Yeah,
He's obsessed with Lindy right now. I don't get it. I mean, Lindy's a great player. I like to get him minutes, but I don't think he should be playing over Moses Moody in terms of minutes. And we actually have a video about that out on YouTube.
Really?
I mean,
on
who should the Warriors start?
Who should the Warriors start? That's right. And who did I say? Did we put that out already?
Moses Moody. Yeah.
I said Moses Moody should be in the lineup. I love that guy. Moody's my man. All right, with that, we bring in the great Ryan Smith, who you could barely see because he's in the dark right now, but we can hear him, I think. You there, Ryan?
Billy Squire in the dark.
Yeah, this might not work, actually.
It's okay. We can hear you. What's that?
I got to change my mic up real quick. It's going through my car. Sorry.
All right, you know what? Just give me a shout out when you're back ready. He's ready?
We'll bring him back in once he's ready.
You ready?
He gave a thumbs down. He's not ready.
Not ready. Okay. All right, he'll give us a
All right, I
thumbs
think
up.
there's another one from Bill.
That was one we just put up. Was there another one? Oh, wait.
No, that's it. No, are you sure?
No, there's another one. Oh, he did two.
Oh,
Double
maybe
dip.
it's glitched.
Oh,
All right, anyway.
well, we got to play it. We got to play them both. Yep. That one's a little dark. Let's see. This one, a little lighter, a little darker, maybe. No, they're the same. All right. Yep. I don't get the fascination with not playing Moody. I just, it's beyond me. Like I said, coaches get stubborn sometimes. And like I said, it happened to me in high school, and I've seen it in all of sports. Coaches get stuck and locked in to a guy, and if somebody gets hot, they and if they're not a regular in their rotation, they don't always think that guy should be the guy. It's like they get locked in and set on a guy because what that guy did in practice, and they really like the way the guy's catching on and doing and practicing, and then it's yeah. As Mark Graves says, Rye, you ready? Okay, he is ready. We will bring Ryan in. All right, Rye, how you doing?
I'm doing great. It's great to be on the show. Yo, Lou.
Yeah.
What's up, bud?
Good to see you, man. I'm currently on the 5 right now. It is pitch dark. Driving.
Be careful.
Back to the Bay. Yeah.
Are you heading to the Bay, huh?
Yeah. Little for Thanksgiving because I got to work tomorrow morning. And
Are you over the Grapevine yet?
We are just in the middle of nowhere, nothingness on the 5. I'm not really sure.
Oh, you went over 2
hours away.
Oh, you went over the Grapevine then. Yeah, you're in the middle of cow dung. Yeah, along the 5.
Yeah, you're between Magic Mountain and Fresno. There's nothing.
Exactly. Yeah, just some beautiful scenery. So I really wanted to hop on because I'm starting to have a little bit. I think the Niners loss, like, I didn't quite process it. And in my head, I was like, well, you know what? There's always the Warriors. This is a great feel-good year. I started looking at the standings, and if you look at their next 11 games coming up, their schedule's heinous. I don't think this team. I think they're going to be lucky to be a play-in team. That's where I've ended up. Because if you look at the West, I mean, they're like 3.5 games out of the 10 seed, something like that. I mean, there's
Right.
all these great teams down there bunched at the bottom. I don't have it pulled up right now, but it's like, the Mavericks and the Nuggets and
I'll pull it up right now here, and we'll take a quick peek and just look at it while you're on here. Let's see. NBA standings. There we go. Okay, so in the West, you got Oklahoma City at 13-4, and the
Yup.
Warriors 12-5. But yeah, they are 2.5 out of the play-in.
2.5 out of the play-in, and those are great teams in there. I mean, the Suns haven't had KD; they've been treading water, but I think they only have one or two maybe only one loss with him. Then you got the Nuggets, the Mavericks. I mean, I'm expecting the Timberwolves to figure it out. I don't know about the Spurs. I think the Clippers are legit.
Right.
I think they are a real team. They've played a difficult ass schedule, and I'm very impressed with them. I think the Grizzlies are only going to get better. I put a couple futures in on the Rockets and the Grizzlies. So I don't think any of those teams are going anywhere.
What do you think, Rye? We've talked about this on the show. We think a perfect fit would be Bam Adebayo from Miami, in a trade with moving probably Kuminga. Who do we have on that trade, Ryan, that worked? It was Kuminga and
Who are you talking about for Bam?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think even before getting into Bam, I think it was for that real quick. It was
like three
Kuminga,
guys, and then
it was Kuminga, Melton. It was some picks. You would have to probably throw in pods because they would want pods.
A couple of ones, but it seems like Bam would be a guy that would fit this offense, maybe even more than
his
Giannis.
salary is low. $38 million is really, really low for a player like that.
That's an interesting one because I would have told you there's no way. I still think there's probably no way, but he's having like a little bit of a rare one where he was on the Olympic team. He was awesome on the Olympic team. Usually players come off that playing like even better with more confidence. He's just been off this year. He just hasn't been good. It's been like the Tyler Hero show, and Jimmy Butler hasn't been very good at all. I don't know if they'd be willing to blow it up. They just don't really seem like the kind of organization that is down to blow it up. But I mean, I would send. I mean, that's probably going to be like a 5 first-round pick type trade.
Yeah, we don't even have that many. The most we can give is 3. I think they would value pods at 1 first-round pick, and I think they would value at Kuminga at 1 too, because I think Kuminga's worth more than 1 first-round pick, but he has that contract situation, so he's probably really only worth 1 first round right now. So I think that's how they would think about it. And then Melton would just be salary filler because they'd be, their mentality would be to blow it up if that's why they were doing it, right? So they would have Kuminga, who they would think, their mentality. They for them to even do this, they'd have to think Kuminga's like going to be really good. You know what I mean? And they're getting 3 picks from us, which are going to be like when Steph's. 2 of them are when Steph's for sure going to be out of the league. So, the Warriors, they would assume are going to be bad then. So they're going to be like, they're premium picks.
Man.
I don't think they do it. Some moves on the move I like because I think that's way out of there. I just think that I would do it if Miami was, shopping Bam. Some moves on the margins I like that we talked about a little bit briefly before you came in is like, a Melton and a couple of second-round picks, because Joe Lacob can buy those from other owners for like $500 to $750,000 on the open market. I would do like 2 seconds and like a DeAnthony Melton for a Dennis Schroeder, who we saw tonight cook us, but we talked about this before tonight's game. Because I think Schroeder, he provides the ball handling that we thought and the scoring that we thought Pods would be bringing us. And I think we've seen Pods take a serious step back. A big sophomore slump is, I think, getting him. What do you think about like a move like that? Because the Nets, not even if you don't like Schroeder, they have a lot of guys who,
I like Cam Thomas.
Selling.
What would it take to get Cam Thomas?
I don't think the Warriors would like him, but like I like Cam Johnson a lot, Ryan. I also like Finney Smith for somebody who I think would be good. What do you think about someone like on the Nets?
So I'm seeing this Cam Johnson thing. Like,
I like that.
That's getting a lot of push online. I really like it. He's a great 3-point shooter. I don't like mortgaging, Kuminga and a bunch of picks, which is probably what it's going to take because he's such a good 3-point shooter and he's having a monster year. He historically is like a plays 50% of his games guy. Like he gets injured all the time.
Oh, I didn't even think about the health thing. You're right. Because when he plays, he's really good, but you're right. He's always hurt. He is always hurt.
And I like the Schroeder thing because I think
he plays. Schroeder always plays. Yeah.
One thing that's really concerning me also is like Curry. Obviously, you throw Curry in a like big game, even a regular season game like Boston, or we're going to see it coming up.
He's going to score 37. Yeah.
Did I just see Ringo in the back? Did I see Ringo in the back?
You did.
All right, there's Ringo.
Ringo.
Hey, Ringo.
He's like, what's happening?
Hey, but look at that. He's got the blanket and everything. I love it.
But so they need a guy like Schroeder because Curry. The thing that a lot of people don't understand is like Curry doesn't want to handle the ball. And his legs are actually it's becoming the one thing with getting older, people say is like, you can do a lot of the same stuff, but the legs go. And you see it towards the end of these regular seasons typically, but you're seeing it even just the other night versus the Spurs. Like it just looked like his legs were completely gone. I think that's why Kerr's been so careful about his minutes. And a big thing that just eats up his legs is like taking the ball up the court every single time and handling the ball. So that's where like a guy like Melton is great, but now Melton's not here. Pods can do it, but like what
he
even is
shoot.
Pods? He's a creative, he's a creative player that's just like 75
what about
overall and everything.
What about I mentioned the guy that the other day, they have him as a two-way player, Reese Beekman, the guy from Virginia who was ACC player, a defensive player of the year, but he's a ball handler as well. He's quick, got good. We saw Anthony Lamb and Ty Jerome for the two-way guys the whole year a couple of seasons ago. Why not bring up Beekman for a game or two just to let him cook at home, see if he can, handle some of those, like you mentioned, the ball handling. They don't have any ball handlers.
I got to be honest. I don't know like almost anything about Beekman.
Okay.
I've not been locked in enough to know much about Beekman.
Yeah. Okay. He's a ball handler and he's a really good defender. So he would fit their style. He would obviously be taking some minutes when Steph's off the court, but I don't like seeing Pods come up the court because you're basically starting your offense with like 13, 14 seconds. By the time he really gets, he gets over the line at, 17, and then he's getting in and he's dribbling with the left hand and he really can't go right. Very good. And then he gets clogged up in the middle. He comes to he gives up his dribble and now he's got a.
Are we talking bust for Pods? I will say
I'm not there yet. I'm not there yet.
I am.
I've seen a lot of sophomore slumps. I'm not there yet.
He's useless out there.
No, but
he had the charges.
Lou, he had a really good
season.
He took a charge tonight.
Oh,
I'm not there. I'm not even a Pods guy. I'm not even a Pods
I'll just say this. He hustles and he'll figure a way to stay in the league.
My God, it's like the great white hope, but he's a failure.
Ryan, I think a lot of it's mental, and I'm not. So that's why I'm not there yet. Because if you see, and Dan's talked about it, and I think a lot of people have, not just Dan. Like any pod, it was Brian Windhorst who mentioned it the other day on ESPN. He's like, you saw it the other day when he was talking about Pods when he shot a shot, it just hit the side of the back, and he's not that bad of it. You can tell now because he had a rough start. It's gone to his head because he's a very ego-driven player, and he's talked about that. Like. He's kind of like Draymond in that way, where it's like you saw with Draymond when his ego was getting hit in the Celtics series, he was like not playable. So I almost think that's where Pods is kind of coming, and he needs to get his mind right. I don't know what that means, but he needs to, I think he needs to get, a little more confidence because I think a lot of it right now is mental. Because I was talking about with Lou, even if his 3-point shot's not hitting, because last year was very inconsistent too. Last year he was hitting a lot of those, floaters and type of shots. Now he doesn't even look for that. He just goes. He's like too pass happy.
And he's bricking free. I mean, I'm
Oh,
sorry, but
well, half a year.
you can't be a white guy under 6'4" in the league and not make free throws. Like
It's very mental now, I think, because last year he was shooting like 80% on free throws. So that's why I think it's in the free throw. That's where your mentals come in the most. They say.
They hit a critical mass last year. And I tweeted out like I wanted to trade pods in June. It was like right after Kendrick Perkins like tweeted out his all defensive team and he had Pajemski on it. And I just in my head was like, okay, we've reached the critical point where like Pods' value is never going to get higher than it is right now. Like people just kind of know his name. They know he takes a lot of charges.
I think the offseason it got higher because he ended up like 4th in Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, and like everybody's talking about, oh, he's untradeable.
Yeah, and they were that's when we needed the movement was the offseason. Because he got so much hype. And he led the league in charges.
I think the biggest problem with the Warriors is the turnovers. So obviously we keep talking about a ball handler. So I think they got to look to the East. Look at some of these teams that were great last year that are faltering.
Bring back Poole.
You know, I know who these guys like. I personally think Philadelphia is done. Philadelphia's got big problems. So if you're going to go after somebody, go after Maxey.
That's
Tyrese
good
Maxey.
luck.
Because Philly already is going to get. They also have Rookie of the Year. They can get rid of him. They don't want the big salary. I would make a move for him or go to someone like Indiana. You know, you need ball handlers. Go, Benedict Matherin, someone like that who's 22, young, can go both ways. Play great defense, handle the ball, and is shooting 35% three-pointers. You know, right now we've come to the point where we're so dependent on streak shooting with the Warriors. When the three-pointer's not going down and you're making turnovers and not making free throws, well, there's 3/4 of the game. You know, it's tough for them to go a full game if they're going to do that. And, I think we need right now what we keep talking about, Ryan, before you got on, nobody really knows what the role is. You know, we got to get it established, and we need guys, another shooter, I think. You know, right now we really have 2 consistent shooters, and then the rest is sort of a mystery. And, you keep talking
Moody
about our schedule. Until the Lakers game on Christmas Day, we're going against teams where we're going to have to score, that play great defense, and that are young. This team today one thing last night, and we still couldn't finish them.
I think we might be okay with OKC. I'm actually more worried about the games after that because OKC's starting like their biggest player is like 6'7", so it's like Shea. They
have Hartenstein back.
Well, when did he come back? A couple games ago.
I like your point, Ryan. We're talking about Moody.
So we'll see.
I think Moody is a guy that, I don't know if you heard me talking before you came on about Moody.
I caught a little bit of it.
I was very frustrated.
Outrageous.
I was very frustrated. He had a great first half. He scored 15 points in like 8 minutes. He was the key to the Warriors' success. And I'm thinking to myself, why does Kerr have to start Lindy Waters in the second half just because he started the first half? I mean, you played ball, Rye. You know when a guy has a hot hand and he's dealing, you don't sit him. You let him play it out until he's, cools off.
I mean, is Lindy Waters like? Are we getting to a point where this is Kerr's new guy? Like,
is he the new Ty Jerome?
It's the new pods.
By the way, Ty Jerome,
he's balling out. Stop roasting Ty Jerome, Dan.
Yeah.
That takes late, man. He might start on the Cavs.
I'm talking about Ty Jerome when he was with the Warriors. I'm not talking.
He was not that bad with the Warriors. Anthony Lamb was bad though.
Anthony Lamb was the worst. Yeah.
That's why you're grouping them together. Ty Jerome was cool. He was fine. He was like Pods. He was like Pods last year, but everyone just didn't like him because he wasn't a rookie. So everyone,
Yeah.
What's going to happen though if Draymond has to miss any time? Or you're seeing it.
Draymond looks washed. Draymond looks super tired.
Draymond did not.
He looks super
like
tired.
He was doing
the last
job
2 games.
today.
He looks super tired.
And Kuminga, I'm not like the biggest Kuminga guy, but like, my God, do they need They just need a guy who can just get to the rim and just like force refs, put them into a bind, call fouls. Can at least, I didn't realize really how much they needed him. And he is also like kind of a primary ball handling guy. I mean, that second unit, this is like, even these past 2 games aside, it's these like 6-7 minute lulls where they can only get like two baskets. And
They
it's just
scored
like
7 points tonight to begin the fourth quarter. 7 points in 6
Crazy.
minutes.
off a technical. And also there has been some absolutely bullshit kind of like shooting versus the Warriors. I'm getting very annoyed by. Like, I know Schroeder's a nice player, but he had like 11 points in like a minute. Randoms that I've never really heard of on the Nets are just wetting threes. That Clippers game, like Nick Batum, who's like barely holding on to even playing anymore. Like, I don't think he's had more than, a 3 in a game. He had like 3 quick. I don't know. All that stuff is just very frustrating. And then Buddy Hield, I just don't understand, like, why are we rocking with Lindy Waters instead of Buddy Hield? Like, I feel like he's kind of earned it, even if he's having kind of an off game. And at least he's not a great defender, but he's fast. Like, he's like pretty good at finishing layups. He can get out on the break. He just kind of knows what to do. I feel like Lindy Waters is an absolute cone. He's no lateral quickness. And I'm seeing guys like boarding over him like constantly.
Yeah. I agree. What would you do, Rye, with this team? Would you make a deal soon, or some guys like Melton can't leave until can't trade him until mid-December because of the CBA. But what would you do? We're only 3 weeks away from that. Would you wait till after December, or would you do something? Try to do something before then?
I think maybe you tank this next 11 games that'll get you to January 1st. It's a difficult schedule, but this is like Kerr needs to figure out who his guys are and who's dispensable. And after that, they have to make a trade. They got to consolidate the roster a little bit. I think they do need a kind of, I heard like Kelly Olynyk, it's not the most inspiring thing, but I would love Kelly Olynyk on the team. Red, for some reason, was down on Valanciunas.
I like Valanciunas.
It just has a big body.
Who's he with Valanciunas now? Is he still
he's
with
on the Wizards, just being a
okay?
And I don't know. Trace Jackson Davis, he's fine. I think we all
better on the bench.
He's better on the bench. I think we were all a little overhyping him because he was a fun rookie story. It's not quite to the level of Pods, but I think kind of I heard Cy talking about there's not that many centers in the league.
Another show too said that he was the best on-site show. A few people were saying that it was like, who was it? It was Larry and who was Paulie Mack were saying that they thought that Trace Jackson Davis was the best, had the most upside on the team. What do you think about that, Ryan?
The guy can't make free throws, which is huge for a guy who pretty much only goes to the cup. I like that he's like athletic, but he's not like that.
Right.
He's not crazy athletic, and he's a weird combination of like he's not that tall.
Right.
Theoretically, if you look at his measurables, has really long arms, but he just doesn't really play like it. Like if he goes up against anybody that's a bigger body, he gets like sometimes I feel like they have a better opportunity with like Kyle Anderson defending.
I agree. I'm so with you on that.
Man. What do you think of Robert Williams up at Portland, the old center at Boston? You think he would be a good fit for this team?
That's the team to look at because they've got Klingon. I know Klingon just had a really bad game, but he's also looked really good. And then they have
Ayton.
And then they have Ayton.
Yeah,
kind of tied to Ayton. So,
Dominating.
Who would you rather have, Ayton or Williams?
If you could tell me Robert Williams is healthy, I think he's one of the most valuable pieces in the league. Like he's a little bit like the GP2 of centers. Like he's gonna get injured, but when he's playing, he's like one of the most impactful freaks defensively in the league.
Yeah, he was in Defensive of the Year talks the year we played the Celtics in the championship run before he got hurt.
What isn't it kind of I felt like I like they got GP2 in the game for like to go on Schroeder at the end of the game, but Schroeder was kind of just putting
Schroeder
in work
cooked
on him.
him.
And
Schroeder
what's up
cooked
with our
him.
is the defensive boost of what's his face the ex NBA player that was coaching
Maxwell.
college. Yeah, so like he obviously was getting the boys fired up to play defense, but it just seems like really sloppy. A lot of like overreacting to drives and wide open threes constantly and giving up long rebounds. It just doesn't seem like the same as it was at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, they've also, to me, I noticed a lot of threes are getting wide open, and they're guys that are coming out, to try to defend it, with a jump, but the guy's already released it. Where beforehand, it looked like they were not as far distance from the players, and they were hustling more. It looks like all of a sudden that with a couple of guys out, with Melton and Kuminga out, that the depth is shortened and guys are not used to playing the minutes they're, because they were only getting short spurts at first when the full lineup was there. They were getting, 4 or 5 minutes. Now they're having to go 7 or 8 and they're gassed because maybe they're not in shape for that. I don't know, because they weren't conditioned to play that much at the beginning of the season.
So I heard a little bit of a concerning stat. This must have been the Spurs game, and I was on League Pass, and I was listening to Fitz and Kalena, who, by the way, I love them to death. I've been listening to Fitz my whole life. It's just a bit much. Like the
Homerism at
overglazing
its
of
finest.
Like David Lombardi does on Twitter for the 49ers is pretty much, they actually go farther. And it's a little nauseating. I've actually started like listening to opposing teams because it's just a little bit much. But I heard them say that the Warriors give up the worst 3-point percentage against them, or they hold teams to the worst 3-point percentage against them. And they're like, oh, and that, that's no coincidence because they have the best, 3-point defense in the league. And in my head, I immediately thought, oh no, have the Warriors just been getting really lucky in terms of like teams have been missing threes versus them?
No, I think it was more what Dan said. I actually kind of agree that the team looks gassed. And I think Steph and Draymond look gassed. And I know this guy, I don't know if you've ever watched him, Ryan, but his name's Athletic Alchemy. But he was talking about that in the last couple of videos. He's like, oh no, is this Melton injury going to actually hit the team more than we thought? Because Steph is starting to look tired. And maybe this Olympic run was a little too much for him at 36. And Draymond just is kind of he hasn't been playing that many minutes the last couple of years in general, Ryan. I don't know if you've noticed that with all of his, different suspensions and injuries. The year before it was the injuries with the back. So, I don't know. They both don't you think Steph and Draymond look kind of gassed now that they've been having to play more minutes?
Well, Steph sat a lot tonight. I was wondering.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I think he looks gassed in the fourth because last year it was like he literally won Clutch Player of the Year. Last year he would have won this game. No chance.
I'm worried about I'm starting to worry about my bet now with Lou.
I'm not. So yeah, that's one thing.
So
one thing I'll get into real quick, and I'll end this, and we'll go around the circle. Is I actually, and I'll hear your thoughts about this. I actually think the Warriors definitely will make the playoffs. I don't think they're a 1 seed. I've been saying all year. I think somewhere around. They were the 1 seed before tonight, Lou. So I don't think they're a 1 seed caliber team.
They only played 15 games.
I'm just,
go ahead.
I'm just basing it off of what they are at. They were the 1 seed. So, anyways, Ryan, I don't think they're a 1 through 4. No, I kind of said going into the season, I still think that's where they'll end up. Like, somewhere between 5 to 6. I think 4 seeds possible because if they make the right move. But the reason I actually think this loss was good because I think it was like a wake up call. I do think the team losing to the Spurs wasn't, they actually have a decent team, Ryan. But like the Nets, everyone knows they're trying to lose. So like losing this game, it's going to be all like tomorrow. That's going to be the talk. Like, are the Warriors pretenders or were we wrong about the Warriors? All over ESPN. And like, Steph, he's talked about it. He reads that stuff. So like, I want to hear your guys' thoughts. Like maybe tonight actually could be a good loss in a way.
I don't know if it's a good loss after losing to San Antonio and blowing an 18-point lead there, or 17-point lead, whatever it was, and then tonight
But it's a back-to-back.
blowing another 18, and they played last night against Sacramento. To me, this is a horrible loss. I think in your mind, though, it could be a wake up. It could be a point where, like, hey, we're not as good as our clippings, press clippings, or saying maybe the Warriors were starting to believe the press clippings and the ESPN.
That's all I meant.
Yeah. So I can see that.
Yeah, I would like to do the mental gymnastics to hope that too. And we can believe that, I think, if they beat the Thunder.
Yeah.
But I just feel like the Thunder are rolling in with vengeance on their mind, and they've got Chet and they've got Hartenstein.
Is Chet back?
No, Chet's not back.
Oh, Chet's not back. Okay.
Yeah, Chet's out. Yeah.
Hartenstein's back, though. You are right about that. He's back.
I don't know. Worst case scenario, I think the worst case scenario is this does somewhat give them a boost. They come in absolutely locked in for this Wednesday game, and they lose a close one. And then all of a sudden they're kind of disheartened, and they've lost 3 in a row, and now they're playing Phoenix with a healthy KD. And the season starts to feel sketchy.
Starts to feel real. I mean, what do you think about for the front office, though, Ryan? Do you think it starts to maybe wake it up? So the other question I guess I should have added with that is maybe the front office is like, okay, maybe this team isn't as good as we thought, and maybe they actually want to make a trade. What do you think about that?
It's interesting. I think Dunleavy, I will applaud him for having kind of the long-term health of the team in mind. Like, he hasn't done the stupid, like, Danny Ainge is I hope you don't mind me saying this on your stream, Dan, but Danny Ainge is an absolute cocksucker, and he will not give up Lauri Markkanen. You know, he was not going to give up Lauri Markkanen for anything. Like, he doesn't have to only win trades. He needs to, like, humiliate you in trades, which is like something that, you know, anybody that plays fantasy football knows. Like, you know, you can catch people when you're desperate, but you can only humiliate a man so much. And I applaud them for not doing that. I like that they didn't go too crazy with the Paul George offer. That they really dodged a bullet there. I would have liked Towns, but it sounds like it would have been something crazy. So, you know, I think it's just, they got to just wait for the right thing to open up. I don't think it's going to be a star.
What about Dante?
I would love Dante. He would be perfect.
What about, a lot of people have said Dante's kind of like, it's been kind of I don't know if you've seen his numbers. He had a rough start over there. It's been kind of a weird mix with all those guys. In Minnesota, you know, they're not locked into him or anything. What do you think? But you'd have to give up something. It's not going to be. How about if we just trade the white guys, a white guy swap? Well, you'd have to give up Melton, and I think, would you be down to give up like Melton and Pods for that? I would. Let's give up
absolutely
white guys. I want Dante back. I love Dante. That man was like 3rd in the league last year, 2nd in the league in threes. He can actually shoot, and he was what Pods was like. That's why everyone was hyped on Pods, because he was like replacing Dante. And it's like, Dante's better. Let's just get Dante back for Pods and Melton so they can get off salary. Because you know the Minnesota. Trade. Why? Minnesota wants to throw him a 2nd-round pick. Minnesota wants to get off salary. That's why they got off Matt. That was the whole thing.
What would that do for the Warriors? Because I know Dante got signed to a new deal, right? So
19. So that works though with Pods. You throw Pods and Melton. It's like 17 or 19, Dante. You'd have to throw in Pods or, you know, and a Melton and like a pick. I would do a 2nd-round pick. What do you think?
I would do it.
Well, can I say something about that first of all? Is Minnesota going to want a guy that's always injured and out for the year? No.
Well, it's about salary.
Who can't play anymore, like Pods? No,
it's a salary.
Why would they make that trade?
They get the 2nd-round pick. They get the.
Nobody cares about a 2nd-round pick. You got to throw a 1st-round pick.
Luke, they traded Karl Anthony Towns for Julius Randle because he's an expiring contract, and Minnesota doesn't want to deal with the luxury tax because they're a small market team.
I'm going to tell you why I'm Mr. Negative. By
Okay.
December 25th, when it's Christmas and the
Yeah.
Warriors are back to 500 and they literally go 3
Oh,
and 10 in
God.
their next 13, you're going to
They
see
could.
panic on this show. Because I've been saying it for a while.
I will, because I'll be losing my $44 bet possibly.
That's okay, because Dunleavy doesn't know what he's doing.
Warriors
It
are
won't
winning
come
44
out.
games.
I know Larry Krueger said it, but they could have had Laurie, but instead they kept all because of this bum who can't play, who would only be a junior out of Santa Clara. He's not like Williams for Oklahoma City. If you look at their schedule, every one of these teams, they might win 3 out of their next 13.
What's the schedule, Lou? Give us the schedule.
Lou,
Okay.
that is you know what, Lou,
Oklahoma
that is
City.
too negative. Too negative.
Oklahoma. Okay, go ahead. Oklahoma City.
At
Okay.
Phoenix,
Okay, a loss.
Okay, wait.
One
Let's
loss.
go through and let's.
at Denver.
You have to give an answer.
Dan, pull it up. Dan, pull it up on the screen so everyone
Pull it
can
up.
see
Yeah.
it.
Let's
Pull it
go
up.
through. You have to give an answer. Just
And while we're at
it's
it,
not-
let's read this super
just-
chat.
Yeah, whatever way they're leaning, whatever way you're leaning on the game, that you give that answer.
Okay. Let me pull up their
So
schedule.
real
here.
quick, while Dan's pulling that up,
Yeah, pull that
$5
up.
super chat from Bill M. The problem with JK is Kerr doesn't know how to use him. Put him down low, back to the basket, and let him go. They did that last year and the year before. I agree. What do you think, Ryan?
I agree that he doesn't quite know how to use him.
Yeah, I think last year they definitely didn't. Don't you think last year was a better role for Kuminga where he was this? And I've been talking about they need to split up Hield and Kuminga because with Hield being that second go-to, I mean, not that second, but the first go-to scorer off the bench, it forces Kuminga into that second role, and he just looks uncomfortable this season. And one of them needs to start. What do you think about that?
I think I would prefer more Hield in the starting lineup for now.
Right.
I do.
Or would you start
kind of
Moody
like,
over Lindy?
See, I don't understand what Kerr's problem is with Moody. I think if I was to give my most educated guess, I think that it has something to do with his defense and his passing.
He can't move his feet.
He's a good he's just not good at point of attack. He's like a good complementary defender.
Right.
But then what I don't understand is the other option is Lindy Waters. He's better than Lindy Waters, and he still makes plays and he's has active hands and stuff. I'd like to see more Moody.
Yeah.
Can't dribble, but
The schedules. I haven't looked at the schedule till just now. This is pretty frightening.
it's
my-
heinous, Dan. Just look at the next 11.
Yeah, the next 13 really. Like Lou
So next
said.
13 with both LA.
Yeah, but I think we go 7-6. I was checking this out earlier.
7-6?
And that would still what would that put the Warriors at? That would put us at 19 and
What
11.
are they now? 12-5?
Yeah, that would put us at 19 and 11. That
Gosh,
sounds about right to me
Should have
after
been
30.
13-4 tonight.
Ryan,
my
can
God.
you see that?
Yeah, next 5 are on national
Yeah, so
TV.
I think Minnesota's not going to beat us twice in a row. So one of that is a win.
And those are both home games. Yep. Okay.
Yeah,
So-
exactly. So they're not.
So you
beating
got
us twice in a
Oklahoma
row.
City. I'm going to say they bounce back and win Wednesday night.
I agree.
Okay, I actually will say I think their best chance of getting a win is versus Oklahoma City of these next 4.
And they play small,
Yeah.
which benefits us.
Okay, Phoenix. I think they lose to Phoenix. They probably lose to Denver.
Yep.
The Rockets. That's a toss-up.
Wait, the Rockets haven't beat us in a long time. I think we have this one.
But you
That's
also
true.
know that game after playing in the altitude is always tough. Just going to bring that up.
Yeah. Then you got. You got back-to-back with Minnesota, but you got a day off in between.
That's
Didn't
what I'm saying. We get one.
Didn't they do that earlier this year? They beat
New Orleans.
Yeah. Yep. They do that now
Okay.
for the play-in stuff.
Okay, so the Pels.
I think honestly, being fair, we give them 2 and 4 at the end of that Minnesota stretch.
No,
Really?
This is 7 games, Ryan.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No, 6. 6.
Not including
What do you mean?
Memphis
It's
yet.
okay. Oh, you're not including Memphis. Okay.
He said through
sorry.
Minnesota.
My bad. I misheard him.
Now,
So-
now go down.
I think I'm going to say they go 1, 2. I think they win 3. I think they go 3 and 3.
Yeah, 3-3 for me too. I think they'll probably beat Phoenix. They're gonna, if
I don't
they
think
lose
they beat
OKC,
Phoenix.
if they lose OKC, they'll beat Phoenix. Let me go with my rationale. If they lose to OKC, they'll beat Phoenix because they're not gonna lose 4 in a row. And Steph will show up against KD. He always does. And I think we lose Denver for sure. And I think there's, they're gonna win one of those 2 Minnesota games, and I think we'll beat Houston. So I think there's a good chance we actually go 3-3 in there.
Homers.
That's not homers. If I was a homer, I would say we're going like 4-2 or 5-1.
All right. At Memphis, that's a loss. At Minnesota, that's a loss.
Lost to Minnesota.
Indiana, that's
Indiana,
a toss.
they can beat Indiana.
We'll beat Indiana. So I got us going 2-1.
Christmas Day at home, Steph against
Loss.
LeBron.
Loss.
You don't think
They
Steph
can't
gets
beat
up for
them.
that?
You got no one that
think
can
he
stop Davis. Davis will have 50.
I'm
They
predicting
tear-
Davis will be hurt.
They are just a terrible.
And then the
matchup.
Clippers have our number.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
3 and
think
10 in the next 13.
Steph is really. I think Steph is really, really bad.
Uh-oh.
He's had one Christmas game. He's only had one good Christmas game in his entire career. So I think we'll lose against the Lakers.
I think they can beat the Lakers at home on Christmas because it's
Steph
an
sucks on
ESPN
Christmas.
game. It's Steph versus LeBron at
Not good
home.
on Christmas.
I've seen Steph show up his whole career against LeBron.
Not on Christmas.
But also like their role players always kill us. Dalton Connect will probably go for 28. Reeves will have
Davis will go 30 and 30.
Davis will
Let's
kill
see.
us.
What do we have?
Curry
now?
averages
3 and
15.3 points.
3 and 4, 3 and 5, 4 and 5. I got him 5 and 5, 5 and 6. I got him
I think
6 and 6. I got him going 6 and 7.
Ryan,
6
you
and
see what I
7.
got to put up with nightly? And
So
then
it's
what they
6
do
and
is
7
they
right here.
break
you're
red.
saying?
So then I have 3 against 1.
I got 6 and
think-
7. What's that's
Hey, I like
You
what
think
Rob
they're gonna?
said.
You think they're gonna lose to Philly?
no, I stopped at
No,
Cleveland.
that's one of their
That would be 7. That would be 7 and 7 if I counted Philly.
Oh,
I was
okay,
only
my
going
bad.
through Cleveland.
So
mean,
6 and
Rob
7
has
would be at what
0-13.
then? That would be
Cleveland.
19. That would be 19 and 12 by New Year's.
Rob, look at Rob C.
'Cause I think
Rob
that
C.
was
trying to
all-
get
I
his
think it's
0 and 13.
Dan,
Lou.
so that would be 19
I
and
think it's
12,
only
right, by
11
New Year's?
games.
Dan is a homer.
I think it's only 11 games through. If you go up to New Year's, that's 11 games.
No, it's
Yeah,
13.
'cause it doesn't
13.
include in the mid-game tournament.
Wait a
Oh,
minute.
yeah,
So
you're
mid-game
right.
tournament, someone gets injured.
Oh
Watch.
my God, we have to do the in-season tournament. That's
Oh
right.
my God! So basically the most difficult schedule ever, and then they have to do the
Dude, yeah, oh,
tournament.
Before and
God, this
after,
is-
correct.
Ryan, this is gonna be real. We're gonna find out a lot about the team coming up.
All right, we got Oklahoma City 1, Phoenix 2, Denver 3, Houston
You're
4,
right, you're right, it's
Minnesota
13.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, LA 10, Clippers 11, Phoenix 12, Cleveland 13. I 6 and 7, maybe 5 and 8. What do you guys got?
You better make
How many
a
games
trade.
over 500 are the Warriors right now?
There's
Can you go back
12
to
and
the
5.
schedule?
5. There's 7 games over.
Go back to the top, Dan.
Right there at Oklahoma City.
All right, 1, 2, 3.
I mean, here's the thing.
Alright,
I think
4,
I think
go
Dan,
down.
Dan, your take. I respect 6 and 7. I think that's about as
5,
optimistic
6,
as we can get. And then I think
Yeah.
you also have to
7.
say, okay, they could go 6 and
Guys,
7
going 7 and
if
6.
everyone is 100% healthy. What are the odds that Steph Curry plays every single one of these games? What are the odds that Draymond plays every single one of these games?
I think it'd be good if they actually sat Steph one of the games. I would have liked them to sit Steph against the Spurs.
Yeah.
I thought that was a pretty
They
classic.
should sit him if
fit.
he goes to Vegas.
Yeah,
Stupid cup.
NBA would love that.
No.
I would be pretty happy if they won the cup. Like honestly, I'm to the level of like, I'm in LA now. Like I'm around all these delusional Lakers fans. Like that pretty much. I'm now like Warriors fans kind of are delusional Lakers fans. Like we've become what we hate most. Like we're all just. I think we got to just be like a cup. NBA Cup would be just a nice season.
So you think this
No.
is? You think where do you think they end up victory wise? Do they top last year's 46 and 36, or are they worse than that?
I think they're about 50 games.
You think they can win 50? We might have lost Rye
No.
along Highway 5.
Ryan, are you back?
Oh, I am back. Yeah, sorry, it might
Oh,
cut out
there-
a little bit. Yeah, I'd say 50 games. Like if you just think they're going to be about 500 here on out, that's about 50 games. A little better than 500.
Yeah. So you think they're going
Okay,
to win 50 games this season?
Let's see, they're 12-5, so that's 19 games. So they have 63 left, right? Am I doing my math right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that'd be 43. They wind up with 43 wins.
63. If they go 500 with 63, that's 31, 32 wins. 31 and 12, 43.
43 wins. You guys would both lose your bets.
I'm not losing my bet, Lou.
Ryan, I don't know if you know, I bet these guys.
What did you bet? What did you bet?
So
Yeah,
the
so
total,
the
the
over-under
total
on the
43
team
and a half
is
for the Warriors. So, of course, you know how these guys are. We minded up betting $44. So I bet
Troy Miller.
44 with Dan. And then Ryan, after we started off with our first
47
two
and
wins
45.
against the worst teams in the league,
Uh-huh.
me and Ryan went up to 88. So I'm not really worried because Dan is already
getting
going to lose
stressed,
money
actually.
because he already said the Niners are going to win 10 games.
Wait a
And
minute.
he's
Did I
very
take that bet?
excited.
Yeah.
Did I
you
give
did
you that
take
bet the other day?
Yeah, you did because
Yes,
you were
Dan.
talking smack and I had to put the money up to you because you
Oh,
said,
you know what I
well, I
did?
got to help you out because I don't want you to lose so much. This way,
Ryan,
Ryan, if
Unfortunately-
you get on this, all you got to do is listen to these guys. It's like taking money from a baby. It's
Ryan, you
unbelievable.
think we're going to win 44 games?
The
Don't
only
you
good
just
thing
think
I've
we're gonna
heard
win
Dan
50?
get excited about, beside Cal Bears actually getting a field goal kicker, it's an amazing win against Stanford. Thank God they won that, and they get to go to a bowl game. But I mean, these guys, it's unbelievable. Niners.
That's not true.
you
I
still got
said
a
the
chance.
Niners were not good, and I said the Broncos were better going in preseason. I said
Yeah,
Bo
and
Nix was
Ryan
better
bet
than
Dan
Purdy,
that the
and I was
Broncos
right
have a
about
better record.
everything.
Dan's
And
gonna
Dan
need
is
to
going
borrow
to pay
money
me
from you, Ryan.
$120.
Hey, let's get one at a time talking. We got a. Do you guys have? I'm going to get a. You know what I'm getting for a sponsor on this show? Somebody that sells hearing aids. Because you guys are constantly talking both at the same time.
My ears trained to where I could hear them both talking at the same time. I love it. Wait, so did you go to Oregon, Ryan?
No, I went to UCSC.
So what's the Bo Nix love?
It's the Broncos love. I've been a Broncos fan
Oh, okay.
since 2012, and unfortunately, it's been a rough 10 years. So I've been juiced about this season. But anyways, we just were talking about some bets Dan's losing, basically.
I'm with you. Actually, I have a couple a few futures at the beginning of the year that I thought were dead that look pretty good right now, and one of them is Bo Nix, Offensive Rookie of the Year.
Dude, you're
seemed
gonna
dead.
win that. You're gonna
Yeah.
win that. You're
It
gonna
seemed
win.
dead, and I even reinvested.
How much did you put on
40-1.
it?
Just $10, but
What,
Still.
$300?
well, I think it was about 14-1 before the season, and then I reinvested around week 3.
So how much you
I also
pay
have
out, 100?
Broncos to make the playoffs plus 512.
You're getting paid. He's a Broncos guy. I love this guy.
I'm a
We gotta get
Broncos
him
guy.
on more. He knows
Also-
football, man. He knows football.
Of course he does. Rye's an OG, man. He's an OG with me and Rye are OGs with the Krug Show.
That's
So
great.
Hey, Ryan, I just wanted to bring something up to you. First of all,
Yes.
It's great to see you. Have a safe drive up, and thank God the weather is okay. But you know what? If you were closer to town, off 5 and 580, we would tell you, including your dog, would get him a yogurt cup. But you could sure use a yogurt from one of our sponsors after a long drive. Am I right, Dan?
That's
Does it
right.
get any better?
And Rye's been there. Rye knows the Yogurt Shack
I'm going right to Lafayette to drop Ringo off at my dad's.
You are.
There you go.
Yeah.
Rye is walking distance from his dad's apartment or condo in Lafayette. Rye and I walked from where Rye lived before. We used to walk down to the Yogurt Shack in that area. And no, wait a minute. I got that wrong. You're not walking. Yeah, you are. Yeah, you are. That's Yogurt Shack is on the I got it right. Yeah, it's just over on the other side of the street. Yeah. So same side of the street as your dad's place, but we walked first over. Yeah. So Rye knows the Yogurt Shack, and the Yogurt Shack, everybody, we got coupons right here for the Yogurt Shack.
Jess, we got Yogurt Shack coupons going.
Yeah. We got to get these to Rye here.
Or if you remember, you pay $5, you get $10 in gift certificates.
There you go.
No-brainer.
Yogurt Shack. But Rye, Rye doesn't need a membership. He's got a lifetime membership on NorCal Sports Network. Rye, you heard my take yesterday on the Krug Show when we were on with the Niners about trading Shanahan. That carried over last night onto NorCal Sports Network.
I got the alert.
Did you get the alert? Yeah.
I mean, it was just, it was really as a tour de force of sports talk. Like, it was just such a good angle. Like, I'm jealous, like, of you bringing that angle up, because it's just such a good thing to argue about and talk about. I don't think there's any way in hell you do it, but.
Yeah, it's just something to talk about. To me, I'm not ready to, I wouldn't fire Shanahan because he's too valuable. And, other teams would be.
Should have got Sean Payton when you had a chance.
I mean, I don't know. I just don't think, I think the Niners, as I kind of woke up in the last 2 weeks, they suddenly got old. I don't know if they win more than 2 games the rest of the year. They look defeated.
I don't see, the thing is, I'm like at a point where like one part, there's like a little like something on one of my shoulders that's saying this is the first opportunity you've had in like 3 years to get the Niners at like 28-1 to win the NFC championship. So I've got one part of me telling me that, like, wait, maybe. And then another part of me is like, how are the Bills only 7-point favorites? I have a suspicion Purdy's not going to play. And even if he does play, even 100% healthy, he's not good in inclement weather. It's like one legitimate knock that you can't argue it. Like, he's not good in inclement weather. He's not good. Like, that Cleveland game, anytime the ball gets wet, even at home, it is a disaster. They're going into Buffalo. They're unbelievably beat up.
Buffalo's on a bye.
Purdy aside, the defense is they run one of the most vanilla defenses in the league, and it only works if you're absolutely loaded with talent at D line, and they're not right now. They don't have Bosa, so
right.
I mean, and
Ryan, get the 6.5 before it goes to 7.5. This way you don't have to spend the 120 and buy the hook. It's a lock.
Yeah. Well, I'm thinking just like, what can we tease this with? What kind of like treat?
Tease him down just for Buffalo winning.
Yeah. But what I don't know what to.
And I already did this tonight. I did a $100 straight parlay. I took Baltimore tonight because I knew Baltimore needed the win, and San Diego, LA hadn't played anybody. Buffalo.
That's fantastic.
We get right. Can you see the screen at all?
Yeah.
We just gave away a 49er sweatshirt last week for our 3,000 sub.
It wasn't
And
even
look
a
what-
week ago.
Wasn't even a week ago. It was a few days ago. And Rob
Yeah.
says, I win a sweatshirt and the 49ers get old overnight.
Yeah.
I thought the best line, though, I heard all weekend was on the Krug show yesterday. Mark Graves, our own Mark Graves, one of our mods and members, said, we were talking about, Larry said, who are you giving the game ball away to today? And you know, there wasn't much to give to anybody. And Mark said, I give the ball to Debo. I'd give him the game ball, but he'd drop it.
Yeah, that was good. That was a good one. So, yeah, let's get around the table real quick, and then we can kind of end the show here and we'll talk in the green room a little bit if you want. But what's your guys' prediction for the next game against OKC here coming up on Wednesday? Let's go start off with you, Dan.
I think it's a high-energy game. I think it's somewhere in the neighborhood of like a 120, 118 win for the Warriors. And
Ryan, you want to go next?
Yeah. I think it's a shootout, and I just think it's a must win almost. It's early, but if any game, when you look at the schedule coming up, it feels like after 2 tough losses that they're home. Also, just want to point this out: a lot of teams, when they come back off the road, they generally lose. A lot of them lose the first game when they come back home because they're still a little tired. So 121-18 Warriors. Rye, you're up.
Ooh. Yeah, I think they'll get the win just because I think they'll rally the troops. I do
Let's
think they'll get
go.
the win. But I think that the second that the win happens, I think all of a sudden a beautiful, beautiful opportunity opens up for Lou and myself and people that like to bet against their own teams. They're going to be valued like they're a 1 seed-esque team. And they're going to be playing all these great, great teams. And the lines are going to be short. They're going to be favored in some of them. I think it's time to just start betting against the Warriors and just do it. You just got to do it. It'll ease the pain a little bit.
That's a good take. And now Lou.
I
That's a
think
negative.
it'll be close early, but you also got to remember it's sort of a revenge game for Oklahoma City. The Warriors went there and beat them, but you got to remember 2 minutes into the game, they lost their second best player. Oklahoma's back now. They're playing good because they have to adjust. It's coming. I think this is the start of sort of a downward spiral, and people are going to start panicking. I think it's going to get to the point where people are going to realize, why are the Warriors now faltering? It's because I think they got extremely lucky with the schedule. They got very lucky when they played Boston, where they were missing their second best player, even though they beat them. And if you look at now, Boston with a full team, well, actually, they finally got their full team back. They're unbeatable. And I just think it's one of those things where, the Warriors, who played great, hey, they still got the most wins on the road, so I'm going to give them credit. But they're definitely, by Christmas, are going to say to people like Dan and Ryan, Dunleavy, will you please get us another shooter? Even though we got 500, the panic will start coming in.
Also, I want to say this about OKC. Last year, the Warriors lost like 3 winnable games to OKC. They didn't foul a couple times at the end of the game, and they were up 3, and they lost both games because they hit a 3 after not fouling, and then they did foul Holmgren on one while he was shooting. So I think the Warriors want to get back at OKC too, and at least get a split this year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I got the game. I actually think it's gonna, I don't think it'll even be that close. I think the Warriors will actually get this one.
Listen to this, Ryan.
Yeah,
the game will not be close against the best team.
You didn't let me
in the
finish my
West.
sentence. I'm not saying they're gonna blow them out. I just don't think it's gonna be a 2-point game or anything like that. I think it's gonna be, I think the Warriors will win by 10. I think Steph and Draymond are gonna show up. Like Ryan said at the beginning when he first came up, came onto the show. Steph shows up for these big games. If you look at all Steph's biggest scoring games this season, it's been against the big teams. He also, there's a thing with Shea, and Steph is super into social media. And last year, Shea, after he beat the Warriors the last time, posted this thing like roasting E40 in the Bay and was like posting all this like subliminal stuff about Steph. And, you know, I think Steph's going to show up. And I think that's, you know, if he starts out really aggressive and he, you know, plays more minutes, I think, you know, the Warriors will probably get away with the win. And I think Draymond knows, you know, show up for the big games as well. They're both big game players.
You think, Ted,
so I
why
think
don't you do this? I'll bet
it.
you 20. And if they beat Oklahoma, if Oklahoma City beats the
I'm
Warriors,
not taking any bets on this.
by 9, I'll give you $80. But if they don't win by 9, I just want 20.
No bets.
All right. Sorry, you were talking a big game.
I only bet on
You
playoff.
how much you putting up? 20 to win 80?
I only bet on football games, individual games.
No, nothing wrong with that. I just,
that's just me. I only bet on football individual games. Basketball's too. Ryan, you never know who's going to even play in basketball.
Check this comment out by our
Oklahoma City and the Warriors, the two best teams, and you think the Warriors are going to win by 10?
I think they won't. I think so.
Probably 1.5.
I think it's going to be
maybe 2.5 at the most.
Lou, our resident Bill M says, "F Dr. Negative, the next Matt Steinmetz. You're Steiny."
That's good. Steiny is so negative. Oh God.
Let's see if we can get Steiny and Lou on the show together.
That would be a great combo.
Wouldn't that be? That would be something, man. We can get a like a mortuary to sponsor the show or something. Like,
it's good to have you back, Ryan, because I'm always by myself on this island.
Hey, the Warriors are going to have to prove me wrong this season. They started off hot. They've had a rough skid, but they just had, they have two of their, I'd argue, their third and fourth best players out. And Melton's going to be out all season, but I think Kuminga being out is being discounted.
What is wrong with Kuminga? What is it, a knee?
Illness.
Oh, illness.
He'll be fine. It's the same thing that's been going around the team. First Pods had it, then Looney had it. Now it looks like it went to Kuminga.
Well, tell them to wear a mask like Pods. Bring back the mask.
Mark Graves.
Anyways, I think
Tiny and Lou, Grumpier Old Men. There's the new show.
I do think
see if we can get it right here on NorCal Sports.
I do agree with Ryan, though, that we do need to make a consolidation trade like as soon as possible.
Look at Lou.
You know what?
Getting
a
some
lot
heat
would
tonight.
be cured if Buddy Hield started looking like early season Buddy Hield.
Yeah,
like he needs to come out with the flamethrower.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, we all know great shooters can be streaky, and so he'll probably go in and out with that.
Remember that.
Well, Rye, hey man, if I don't talk to you before Thanksgiving, have a happy Thanksgiving. You going to be up at your dad's or mom's? What?
Thanksgiving is actually at my brother's.
Oh, it's your brother's.
Yeah.
All right. Cool.
He's hosting. It's a neutral site game between my divorced parents.
Where's your brother live?
He's actually living in San Bruno now, but we're
Oh,
staying at
wow.
my mom's.
Down by the airport, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, cool. Well, make sure you give, for me at least, give Ringo some turkey.
Okay. I will.
Give Ringo.
Actually,
Don't give him a turkey bone. I don't want that bone getting stuck in the down the throat there. But yeah, Ringo and Buster, man, we got to get those two together.
Yeah. Neutral site game.
Yeah. There we go. Well,
got
cool.
a $2 donation here from Bill M. F Dr. Negative. The next Steiny.
Love it. Thanks,
Appreciate
Bill.
it as always, Bill.
Oh man. Hey, this is let me get the music rolling. Great show. Good to have Ryan in. I've been talking to Ryan for a while about anytime he wants to come on. He's got an open invitation. Ryan knows his sports, and I love filling NorCal Sports Network with knowledgeable guys. That's why I have all these guys on, because they know their sports. And this is not just a one-trick pony over here at NorCal Sports. We got you covered. All three. So
no
tomorrow,
WNBA.
What do we got tomorrow? We got a couple vids coming out.
Yeah, so we'll have something out at
10 a.m. Pacific
tomorrow morning. Yep, we'll have a nice baseball video, Giants video coming out, so make sure to check that out.
Tomorrow night, 8 o'clock. I got to show you. Can we show them the thumbnail for tomorrow night?
Let's leave it as a surprise.
All right.
You can tell them what the topic is, though.
Tomorrow night, 8 o'clock. It's called Pick a Lane. Pick a lane. Pick a lane, guys. You won't want to miss
right.
tomorrow.
Don't you love what the Giants have been doing? I mean, the Anaheim Angels are doing more than us. It's embarrassing.
The Angels are building a monster.
Hey, at least they picked up a starting pitcher that I think is pretty good.
Yeah, Giants fans, you won't want to miss tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. It's going to be a good show. Pick a lane, and we're going to break it all down for you. I want to thank again our sponsor, Chapman Law Group. Let me get the music on. Turn the band down a bit here so I can talk over it. Yeah, it's been a great night here. Tough night for the Warriors, losing probably their worst loss of the season, a home loss to a team that is not good that played the night before. So, and you had a 17-point lead. So not a good one, but it happens in the NBA where no lead is safe. So for Ryan M. Merdadian, Ryan Smith, and Dr. Mr. Negative, so long, everybody. Have a great night. We appreciate you.